Shuprabhat, Shuprabhat, Shuprabhat. Hello, my dear friends. Hello, my dear listeners. How are you all? We hope that we are doing our best to serve our duties with utmost honesty and love, and we are going to be successful with the grace of our Lord as well as with the blessings of our parents and gurus. We will be successful in this sadhana. With this good wish, let's proceed farther through the life of our master Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa Dev, where we are right now witnessing the metamorphosis of Narendra towards Vivekananda. So let's proceed. Narendranath passed days happily at the feet of the master who, by his silent influence, was gradually capturing his heart. His method of imparting spiritual knowledge to his disciples was wonderful. At a glance, he would know what particular course would suit a particular devotee and would set himself on mold his character accordingly. Like a master athlete, he would proceed with great caution and restraint, now owning defeat at his hands to strengthen his spirit of self reliance, now putting forth wonderful energy to overpower him in the struggle. Realizing that in everyone was infinite strength only requiring proper training to become manifest, he considered the pygmy as strong potentially as a giant. By intuition, he knew that a glorious future awaited his disciples, though they were ignorant of it. Holding that bright picture before their eyes, he encouraged everyone to remain in the path suited to him. At the same time, he warned them of the dangers to be expected. He kept himself minutely informed of their activities and always exerted his beneficent influence in controlling their youthful impetuosity. And all this was done silently and unobtrusively. Again and again, he would tell his disciples to test his realizations. Once he said to Narendra, "Test me, as the money changers do their coins. You must not accept me until you have tested me thoroughly." One day, when the master was absent in Calcutta, Narendra came to Dakshineshwar. Finding there was no one in his room, a desire arose in his mind to test the master's renunciation of wealth, so he secreted a rupee under the bed. He then went to the Panchavati for meditation. After a time, Sri Ramakrishna returned. No sooner had he touched the bed than he started back in great pain. Wondering, he was looking round when Narendra came in and watched him silently. An attendant examined the bed and the presence of the rupee was disclosed. Both the attendant and the master were surprised. Narendra walked out of the room. When the master was told of it later, he was glad that Narendra had tested him. In the first part of 1884, Narendranath's father, who was the support of the family, suddenly died of heart disease. He had spent more than he had earned, and at his death, the family was faced with dire poverty. The creditors were knocking at the door. Narendra's relatives, for whom his father had done so much, became enemies, even threatening to oust the family from the home. The burden of support of 6 or 7 people therefore fell upon Narendra, and he was forced to seek employment. Everywhere he was met with refusals. 3 or 4 months passed. We shall tell of this dark period in Narendra's own words. Even before the period of mourning was over, I had to look about in search of a job. Starving and barefooted, I wandered from office to office under the scorching noonday sun with an application in hand. 1 or 2 intimate friends accompanying me sometimes, but everywhere the door was slammed in my face. This first contact with the reality of life convinced me that unselfish sympathy was a rarity in the world. There was no place in it for the weak, the poor, and the destitute. Those who only a few days ago would have been proud to help me now turned their face against me, though they had enough means at their disposal. Seeing all this, the world sometimes seemed to me to be the handiwork of the devil. One day, weary of footsore, I sat down in the shade of the Octarloni monument in the Maidan. Some friends of mine happened to be there, one of whom sang a song about the overflowing grace of God, perhaps to comfort me. It was like a blow on my head. I remembered the helpless condition of my mother and brothers and exclaimed in bitter anguish and despondency, "Will you please stop that song? Such fancies may be pleasing to those who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth and had no starving relatives at home. Yes, there was a time when I too thought like that. But today, before the hard facts of life, it sounds like grim mockery." Okay, so my dear friends, today we have seen how the reality or the the test of life has actually right now turned the Narendra, the sweet youth, the joyful, lovely youth into a bitter bitter person. But what had happened next we will come to know in the next episode. Till then, be happy, be jolly. But before going, I must say, just remember he has tested his guru with a single coin, right? Now life is testing him with the same coin, so we have to be prepared. With all this, be happy, be jolly, and keep praying.